Pawn Stars is an American reality show on the History Channel which takes place in Las Vegas, Nevada. The show follows the day-to-day lives of the employees of a family-owned pawn shop known as world-famous Gold and Silver Pawn Shop. The business first opened back in 1989 by Richard Harrison, though he soon passed the operations down to his son, Rick. The show has seen much controversy over the years, including several allegations against the stars and numerous public arrests of the show's comedic relief, Austin Russell, aka Chumlee. Regardless, the show has continued its decade-long run and is one of the highest-rated reality shows in television and History Channel's most popular show ever. Over the show's run, several items have come into the shop that were very noteworthy. Many of these items offer little cash value, even though they are historically significant, though other items have fetched outrageously high prices and are worth of making note. Number 1. In one particular episode of the show, a man brought in over 200 pounds of silver. This silver was still in its brick form, and the man said that he was urged to purchase it several years ago by his father. According to the seller, he bought the silver around 12 years prior, and since then, the price of silver had increased dramatically. Rick knew that the silver was worth a pretty penny and was excited to place an offer on the metal. Silver has a really fast turnover rate these days, so reselling the metal to another agency should produce a quick and easy profit for Rick. He called in a buddy to test the silver and even drilled into some pieces to ensure that it was solid. The pair eventually settled on a price tag of $111,000, and the seller left happy. It seems a little odd that the man brought all of this silver to a pawn shop rather than directly to a jeweler or someone who works directly with silver. Due to Rick needing to make a profit of his own, it stands to reason that the man likely could have made tens of thousands of dollars more if he had gone directly to a supplier rather than a middleman like Rick. But hey, to each their own. Everyone was happy with the deal, so all is well. Number 2. Clips of this purchase are available all over YouTube, making it one of the most popular Pawn Star buys to this day. A seller brought in a guitar that, to the naked eye, may not seem all too special. It was painted in off-white color with a gold-plated hardware throughout. It was truly a beautiful guitar, but there didn't seem to be anything important or noteworthy about the instrument. However, the seller offered Rick a verified story of the guitar's origin, claiming that it belonged to a famous guitarist, Mary Ford. Again, this may not seem all too impressive. However, Mary Ford was the wife of Les Paul. Les Paul was the inventor of the Les Paul guitar style and is one of the most prolific guitar players and designers to have ever lived. Les Paul's guitar style and craftsmanship are literally what formed rock and roll music as we know it today. The body style changed the sound of music forever, with Les Paul's being some of the most sought after guitars on the market. This guitar was already quite rare, but the fact that it was created by and co-owned by the man himself made this guitar nearly priceless. The original owner asked Rick for a hefty $250,000 for the guitar, but Rick wasn't buying in without haggling. In the end, he worked the seller down to a reasonable yet large price of $90,000, making this Rick's most expensive guitar purchase in Pawn Star history. Number 3. One of the rarest coins in American history is considered to be a high-relief dollar. In an episode of Pawn Stars, Rick was not only lucky enough to have been presented one of these dollars, but the seller offered Rick a certified proof coin of one of these dollars, sending the asking price through the roof. When the seller initially brought the coin to Rick, he was asking for a hefty sum of $20,000, though Rick didn't know enough about the proof to be able to make the man a reasonable counter. He called in a buddy to check the coin out and soon found out that 1 to 12 of these coins are known to still be in existence, and it is unlikely that any of them are in this good a shape. The expert then valued the coin between $50,000 and $100,000. Much to Rick's dismay, the seller raised his asking price and the two settled on a deal at $80,000. According to the seller, the coin was won in a poker match between friends. You can certainly imagine how angry that friend must have been when he found out the true value of what he had been holding on to for all this time. This was allegedly Rick's most expensive piece of currency to have ever been purchased by the shop. Number 4. It's not uncommon for pawn shops to deal with used cars, though this show wouldn't have made its way on the History Channel if it at least didn't have some of these vehicles that were extremely unique, historically significant, and valuable. One such vehicle was brought in by a seller who was asking a very large sum of money for the car. The automobile in question? A 1932 custom Ford Roadster that made nearly 500 horsepower. The car was immaculate and had just 432 original miles on it. The vehicle was truly a beauty and was unlike anything else to have ever been shown on the show.
Rick and his son both wanted the vehicle and engaged in some serious negotiations. Eventually, the seller let the car go for a whopping $68,250. Number 5. In a somewhat older episode of Pawn Stars, a man entered the shop claiming to have a once-in-a-lifetime item to show Rick. He claimed the item was a significant part of American presidential history, and he certainly didn't disappoint. The item in question was a cigar box that was confirmed to have belonged to President John F. Kennedy before his fatal encounter in 1963. Not only was this cigar box Kennedy's, but it was the cigar box that sat upon his desk in the Oval Office throughout his presidency. Only one other similar box is known to have sold, and that auction took place in the 1990s. That box sold for over $500,000. So Rick knew that he had to make an offer on this one. Somewhat surprisingly, the seller let the box go for just $60,000 and walked away a happy man. It's unclear why the man let the box go for such a comparably small amount of money, but hey, so long as both the seller and buyer are happy, that's all that matters. And maybe it was fake.